Welcome back everyone to InformOverload. I'm your host Johnny Rogers, and if you happen to be new here, typically we take the most interesting news stories on the internet and then make them more entertaining. However, today we'll be doing things a little bit differently. But to never miss another video, make sure you click that subscribe button and stay all the way until the end because you won't believe our #1 spot. I know I didn't. Now without any further delay, let's jump right into our list of the top 10 scary catfish stories that will make you afraid of online dating. In at number 10, crossing state lines. A guy had been talking to a girl who he thought was his own age online for a really long time. He was even planning on driving to Texas from his home in North Georgia just to meet her. When he finally made all the plans final and was well on his way to Texas, the girl he had been speaking with confessed everything. She was actually an overweight 43-year-old woman with body image issues that led him to believe that she was only 23. Apparently he doesn't like to talk much about it, but he should have known everything's bigger in Texas. In at number 9, the Florida woman. So this guy had been chatting with this girl from Florida for 3 years, and after he graduated high school, he finally decided that he was going to fly out and meet her. He takes a plane down to the airport and is even greeted by her mother, who tells this guy that her daughter is waiting for him back at the house, which just sounds like the start of a horror movie. First red flag is that he notices a guy sitting in the back seat around his age, but in the 3 years of communicating with this girl, she never even mentioned that she had a brother. They finally arrive at the house and there's no girl in sight. That's where things get very heated. He gets angry with the woman that picked him up at the airport and demands that she tells him the truth. This lady was using her niece's photos the whole time they had been talking to each other. He immediately left the home, spent the night at a hotel, and then had to have his parents pay for his flight back home. Oof, rough. In at number 8, poor Lenny. This is an interesting one because it's from this side of the catfisher rather than the catfishee, if that's a word even. This guy had been catfishing a young man who lived in the UK named Lenny. He used fake photos, a fake name, but for whatever reason he gave him his real phone number. His house phone number to be specific. Lenny would call the home and leave messages on his family's answering machine, and the two would even send each other packages filled with sweets back and forth. One day Lenny decides he's going to come to America to meet this girl that he had been talking to online, and the catfisher agreed to it. On the very day that Lenny landed in Texas, the catfisher spilled the beans and admitted that he was actually a dude. The two never met, but Lenny tried for a week straight to meet him, even calling the house every single day for a month. Poor Lenny. In at number 7, I've got the cure. This is definitely one of the more disturbing stories on this list. Another Texan native by the name of Angela Buchanan was posing as a gynecologist that had survived breast cancer when she met a 51-year-old woman online. Oddly enough, she somehow convinced this woman that she too had breast cancer and that by entering into a relationship with her, it would release hormones that could fight the malignant cells. Sounds plausible? She was even able to convince this poor woman to have a mastectomy, even though she never had breast cancer. Thankfully, Buchanan was arrested and charged with online impersonation. There is a law. In at number 6, right in the kisser. Not even a pro NFL player is immune to being catfished, but we're assuming the person who fooled him will never catfish again. Buffalo Bills linebacker IK Enenkpali was contacted by a woman named Missy Lee on Facebook. She claimed she was eager to get jiggy with him, and Enenkpali was apparently game. Although things turned into a nightmare when he went to visit the woman only to find her hiding underneath the bed sheets, refusing to reveal herself to him. And after leaving, Missy Lee video called IK showing her true face, a face that was covered in male facial hair. Turns out Missy was actually a man named Ketron Anderson. However, IK didn't care who he was. He promptly returned back to the address and punched Ketron so hard in the face he knocked out 2 of his teeth. In at number 5, Bass the Catfish. In the early days of the internet, things were pretty much the wild wild west. This victim of catfishing did not have the universe on her side either. She was young and couldn't possibly comprehend someone deliberately lying to her over the internet. Oh, those were the days. So when she entered into an AOL chat room, for you youngins, it's like old Facebook. There was a chat room dedicated to the band NSYNC and began talking to someone named Lance Bass. Well, they had Lance Bass in their username, so she thought it was the real Lance Bass. Oh, let's continue. Although this Lance Bass impersonator never told her the truth. Instead, they spoke of stories from the road and continued communicating with this girl for a long time. On the 4th day of speaking to Lance, he told her that he would love to send an advance copy of NSYNC's new album. He would just need a credit card and mailing address. However, before she could find said credit card in her mom's purse, Mama Bear shut it all down and moved the computer into the living room, so this would never happen again. In at number 4, the Stalkers plan. A girl had messaged this guy on a dating website, and according to him, her photos looked okay and he hadn't been on a date in months, so he decided to go with it. The woman's profile said that she was 5'4" and average body type. They agreed to meet at a Starbucks, which he would soon regret. When he entered the Starbucks, the woman was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a woman standing at least 6 feet tall casted a shadow over him, and as he turned around, she was greeting him by name. It was at that moment that he realized why she wanted to meet in a public setting. She looked nothing like her photos, and if he lost it on her in front of a cafe filled with people, he would surely look like an asshole. The woman explained that she was the last of her friends to get married, and so she used her photoshopping skills to edit her height and even her noticeable Bell's palsy in order to get dates. Here's where it gets scary though. She started telling him about how she literally almost bought the same condo that he did before him, even though he never told this woman about where he lived. In at number 3, vampire freaks. This victim of catfishing says that when they were 16, he had discovered this social site called Vampire Freaks. At the time, Facebook wasn't big yet, and MySpace made it too difficult to find people in your area that had similar interests. So he turned to the more fringe site that had a large collection of nerds talking about nerdy things. This is also where he met the love of his life at the time. They had the same interests, they spoke through MSN voice chat, and even sent photos back and forth to each other for months. And after 3 months of talking, he decided it was time for them to finally meet. At the time, he lived in southern New Jersey, and her home in upper New York was a bit far, so first he lied to his mother about where he was going, saying that he was just going on a trip to Philadelphia, which is about a 15-minute train ride. Instead, he hops on 2 trains, does some walking, and leads to a total trip of 2 hours. While waiting in the cafe where they agreed to meet, chills shot down his spine as a woman who looked nothing like the one that he saw online approached him. He admits that he still would have dated her, but it was the fact that she lied to him for so long that made things troubling. Not exactly a good precedent to begin any relationship. In at number 2, the college football star. Another football star duped by the nefarious crime of catfishing, except this time was a real emotional rollercoaster of events. Notre Dame defenseman Mandy Te'o showed great promise with his football career and was even featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Although in 2012 his personal life took a big hit when he made a public announcement that his long-distance girlfriend had died from leukemia. He even garnered worldwide sympathy for this terrible situation. But a few months later, when a reporter at Deadspin was digging into the story, they discovered that his girlfriend Lenny never even existed. Instead, it was revealed that a close male friend of the football star had been catfishing him the entire time before he eventually confessed his love for the athlete. Suffice it to say, he didn't exactly feel the same way. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Underage Runaway. The interesting thing with this catfish is that it was the second time that it happened to him, which begs the question, maybe it's you, bro. This guy states that while he was a junior in college, he had been talking to a girl that lived a few states away. They spoke for weeks online, and the woman had claimed to be 19 years old, and he was 20 at the time, so it seemed alright. And at one point while speaking, the woman said that she wanted to take a bus out to the university to spend the weekend hanging out and partying. However, when he picked her up from the bus stop, he quickly realized that this was definitely not the woman from the photos. She looked similar, but was much younger than she had claimed. Not wanting to assume her age, he tried to play it cool, but when he realized the implications of what it would look like if she was actually, say, 14 or 16, he quickly took the girl to his parents' house to figure out how to get her back on a bus home. Once home though, he receives a call from a distraught mother who said that she found his number on her daughter's cell phone bill and was worried about her safety. He promised to meet her on the campus with her daughter to get her home safe, but he didn't even make it out of the driveway. At that moment, a police officer pulled in, spotted the girl, and asked him if that was the missing girl. He said yes, put her back in the car, and now all he has to do is explain to his parents why the police came into the driveway, spoke with him, and then took the girl that they just spoke with and just left. Oh, and when he did go back to campus, he had the campus police, local police, and state police searching for him and the underage runaway. Terrifying. And that has been the top 10 scary catfish stories that will make you afraid of online dating. Thank you so much for watching InformOverload. And if you enjoyed this video, then show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, if you find any news stories that you want us to cover, make sure you send the link in a DM to our Instagram page at InformOverload. And if we like it, you may just see your story on our channel. Plus, leave us a comment down below with which story from our list scared you the most. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is click that playlist on the side of the screen. From IO, I'm Johnny Rogers saying until next time, take care.